Hello, everyone. I haven't done a Facebook Live in a while, so I thought I would spend a little time with you today. I'm getting ready to go to South by Southwest, so got a lot of activity, have a lot on my mind, and I'm here. I can take maybe 30 minutes or so just to hang out with you and answer some of your questions. I wanted to start out by discussing a theme that I heard at Social Media Marketing World in San Diego this week. It's a great event. It's a fun event. It's one of the most well-run events that you'll ever hear. And one of the themes I kept hearing there was Facebook is punishing us. We've worked hard to build our audience, to build our customers, and now they're taking our money away from us. They're not showing our content. And this really hits a hot button for me. Facebook is not hurting anybody. Facebook is a business. And the reason that organic reach has gone down so much over the last few years is because there's too much stuff. We've done it to ourselves. Today, the average user on Facebook can see 2,000 stories a day. It's just too much. And so Facebook has had to ratchet back the content. They have and who are they going to hurt first? Businesses who are out there pumping their press releases. But it's just really upsetting to me that people think that Facebook is out to get us, that Facebook is punishing us. I hear this over and over again. And so I am here to take your questions today. I see, a few people are joining now, but I just wanted to address this topic up front, that Facebook is a business. Facebook ultimately is going to be run by the economics of Facebook. It's going to be run by the economics of the business. They have to provide a value to their stakeholders, and if they could create value to their stakeholders by publishing endless company press releases on their newsfeed, then they would do it, but they can't. And there's larger issues here as well. Facebook is under attack from a lot of different angles these days. They are being considered monopolistic, creepy, with privacy violations. There are studies coming out saying that Facebook is unhealthy for us. It may even be making people sick and addicted. There's a lot of controversy right now about how Facebook might be hurting democracy. So Facebook is under a lot of pressure, and they're going to adjust as a business, but they're not trying to hurt us. The lack of organic reach that we're seeing today is simply a continuum of what has been going on for years and years and years. So in 2011, for example, if you did a great job with your content, organic reach might be about 26%. That was the average for a business with a Facebook page. Today in 2017, it was less than 0.5%. So if your content isn't working today after the apocalypse, it probably wasn't working last year either. So this is just it's business, and we've got to face the facts. We've got to stop whining. Sometimes I think I'm in an alternate universe where social media managers think that they're entitled some way to Facebook's audience and Facebook's stream, and it's business, and we have to be business leaders. We have to face the facts. We have to adopt. We have to adapt. We have to adjust. That's what marketing is all about. That's what it's always been about. And the rate of change is going to be increasing even more. So there is my rant for the day. Just had to get that off my chest because I just see so many people social media is just becoming very shrill. It's becoming very whiny. People are just, complaining all the time. And this is business, folks. So let's see what's on your mind here. Let's see. We've got Let's see what questions are on your mind. So Jeff Shuey is asking me, can you be known only in small communities? I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure how you define small. I mean, in my book, I make a distinction between famous and known. And I think I'm known in my community. I've got tens of thousands of followers and tens of thousands of people who read my blog. I don't consider myself famous. So I just think the idea is that you just have to be known to the right people. You have to be known to the people who can help you make your dreams come true. That might be one person at a book publisher. That might be one person at a company that wants to hire you. So really it depends on your goals in terms of how big the community is or how big the audience is. I see Kathy Snavely is checking in today. Kathy, I hope you're feeling better. I know you've had some health problems, so I hope you're feeling better. So Kathy's asking me, so the key is linking with what's valuable to your audience. Oops. Your content just went away. So I've got to bring it back here because I wasn't able to read it fast enough. So the key is linking with what's valuable to your audience. The quality of your content is more important than ever. I mean, I think I gave a kind of a fanciful and funny example in my talk. At Social Media Marketing World, I talked about how back in the 50s when television was just coming out, there was actually one guy here in Knoxville that owned all the advertising. He basically sponsored all the programs on one TV station. And back then, the station was hungry for content, right? Does that sound familiar? In the early days? So they had local people come in doing performances and doing cooking shows, doing craft shows. And then he would talk about his grocery store. That's kind of the way the internet is today, right? I mean, when the internet started, any blogger, any local content could get an audience, right? It was easy to advertise. It was easy to be a sponsor on the internet. Now it's getting crowded. The channel is being filled with content. We have overwhelming information density, right? So back then, to get on TV, you just had to have a local cooking show. Now, what do you need to do to be on TV? Game of Thrones. That's what's happening on the internet too. That's content shock. And some people aren't going to be able to compete. I mean, I think I have pretty good content, but I mean, it's a struggle every day. I mean, I've got to outdo myself every week, every month, every year. So it's not just about great content anymore. It's about being relevant to your audience and being superior to your audience. That's what we have to fight for all the time. So, hey, Jed is putting a link to my book in here. That's awesome. Kathleen Atkins, she's a local friend. I've seen recent posts about creating a group for your business instead of a Facebook business page. What are your thoughts on this? Well, if you read between the lines, Facebook has talked about this algorithm change really impacting everything, including groups. I think Facebook groups are an amazing idea to build community because, first of all, what we're seeing in a trend and in a lot of research is that everybody wants their stuff in one place. People don't want to visit a website. They don't want to go, to another place. They want everything in one place. So that's why Facebook groups are really kind of appealing to build a community. And it's easy. Everybody knows how to use Facebook groups. So I can't say for sure that Facebook groups are not going to somehow be affected by some of the changes that Mark Zuckerberg is making, but I think Facebook groups remain an incredible alternative to build a community. So let's see what else is going on here. So let's see. Juan Morrow says, do you think the other social platforms, particularly Twitter and LinkedIn, are or will follow suit in significantly cutting business exposure? It's economics. It's just supply and demand, right? So, if it gets too crowded on Twitter, they're going to change their algorithm. They already did. If it starts to get too crowded on Instagram, they're going to change their algorithm. They already did. There's sort of a sweet spot. There's sort of an art in terms of how many posts people can see each day and how many ads people can see each day. And so all the social platforms are going to tweak that sweet spot over time and find creative new ways to show ads. But it's just a matter of economics. I want to emphasize what I started out the Facebook Live by saying. I mean, nobody out there is trying to get you. Nobody is punishing you. Facebook is not punishing its users. It's not punishing businesses. It's not punishing content creators. This is just business. It's economics, and we got to just kind of, we got to move on. So Grant says, can you dress up in a Lannister costume? Where'd that come from? That's pretty random. But I'm late to the game on Game of Thrones. But, man, I'm loving Game of Thrones. It's really cinematic. Lindsay Carlson says, I think it's in the culture you create. This is like attending a private study group with our favorite prof. Oh, that's pretty cool. You must have had some pretty terrible profs. So, hey, let's see. Avery and Damian Ross is on. Got to spend a little time with Damian out in social media marketing world. He's awesome. So Grant asks, how do you strike a balance in running a Facebook group between community and self-promotion, such as a book or event? I have a pretty consistent view on this. I think that you just can't get too far in this world today with selling stuff to people. And I know it's kind of delicate, but I mean, I think people are going to be attracted to you if you can, if you can help them. If you can help them make money, save money, have a happier life, have a healthier life, have a more entertaining life, they will be attracted to you. I think they will tolerate a little bit of selling because they know you've got to make a living. But you've got to bring value, because if you start selling too much, then you're going to break this rule that I just talked about being relevant and superior. If somebody else is creating similar content and they're not trying to give the hard sell any, like you are, then, you're going to lose. So, my view is just you've got to change your mindset to win today. And I know this is hard. You've got to change your mindset from sell to help. And I know some companies can't do that. And I've been there. I worked for a Fortune 100 company for over 20 years. And I know the pressure of making that quarterly number and beating your sales goals. And there's not a lot of sales managers out there that are going to be patient and say, oh, you're building relationships on social media. Well, isn't that nice? Did you make your quarterly number? That's really the only thing that matters. So in some ways, being a public company, having those Wall Street institutionalized goals works against how value is created on social media. And you need to find a way to break that cycle, and not all companies can do it. Nazim is saying, will AI have an impact on social media in the future? Artificial intelligence is going to change everything. It really is. I mean, I've been studying this and learning as much as I can about it. One of the things I mentioned today is that I'm heading to South by Southwest this week, which is it's kind of like the World Cup of innovation and ideas. That's why I love to go. I just love to go and immerse myself and surround myself with all these smart people and take it in and learn. And the number one topic this year, by far, looking at the schedule of events, is artificial intelligence. So I'm going to be learning a lot more in the next couple of days. But absolutely, I think that innovation in the future is going to be determined by how we apply a layer of artificial intelligence onto our daily tasks. And one of the things I said in my speech last week was that I don't think we're going to wake up one day and say, oh my gosh, the world is artificially intelligent. It's going to sneak up on us. We're just going to see that when we look for products, when we try to discover people or processes or companies, or we need help, we're entering the age of assistance, where everything is going to be a little easier. It's going to be a little faster. It's going to be a little more personal. And we're just going to say, oh, that's kind of cool. and not even really notice that artificial intelligence is behind it. I saw today projections that artificial intelligence they're expecting that artificial intelligence will be able to write a best-selling novel in the next 15 or 20 years. We're already seeing artificial intelligence writing blog posts, writing rap lyrics, writing music, writing movie scripts, writing movie scores, creating movie trailers. So a lot of these tasks are going to be taken over by the bots, by our algorithmic overlords, and we need to embrace this. We're going to see more change in our marketing world in the next 2 years than we've seen in the last 20. And we've seen a lot in the last 20, believe me. But we've got to embrace the change. I think that's a skill set today, is we have to be able to see what is going on. How do we adjust? How do we adapt? How do we adopt and do that for our company? So absolutely, artificial intelligence is going to be amazing. It's going to be huge, and we have to embrace the change. Elisa Meredith asks, if they love you, they will ask you how they can support you. Absolutely. Damien says, how does someone make their bosses feel comfortable with the amount of time you're building relationships online to help grow your 9-to-5 business? I'm lucky, but I think most bosses see this as a distraction. When I start with a company, Damien, I can usually tell in the first 20 minutes if they're going to listen to me. And I can tell by the language that they use and the questions that they ask, because the number one predictor of whether social media or digital transformation is going to take place at a company, it has nothing to do with the people or the strategy or the budget or the agency or the resources. It's the culture. And the culture starts at the top. It's the person who owns the strategy and the budget. And if that person doesn't understand how the world is changing, and let me add a little commentary here. They don't have a choice. The foundations of marketing are being rocked. That is unraveling before our eyes. And the stuff that worked a couple of years ago does not work now. The stuff that we've counted on in our marketing departments that worked for decades or even a century doesn't work anymore. You don't have a choice. You've got to move ahead. You've got to embrace this new mindset around marketing. But to get back to your question, Damien, it starts with the boss. If the boss doesn't understand, if the boss doesn't support this transformation, it's not going to work. There's no such thing as a grassroots cultural change. So let's see. Peter saying, my challenge is I give, and based on feedback, it's of great value, but the selling message eludes me because it always seems crass. I struggle with the same thing, Peter. I have a good business today, but I often tell people that I'm successful in spite of myself because I hate self-promotion. It's one of the reasons why I don't have an online course, because I can't imagine myself saying, hey, have I got something for you new, come, online. And now if you go to my webinar, now you can, just today only for you, we're going crazy. That's not me. Can't do it. So I have to depend on selling stuff through authority, that I have to create content that will attract people to me at a high enough level that they'll say, I've learned enough about Mark Schaefer that I trust this guy. I like the way he thinks. I like what he stands for. I like how he connects with people. He's the person I want to work with my company. So, it is a balance, and I'm not saying that I shouldn't sell more, but I just can't do it. So I feel your pain. It feels It certainly feels crass to me. So Kathleen's asking, do you think Vero will be surging in the long run, or will it be like Vine and die off? That's a really, really good question, Kathleen. Vero is super hot right now. They've had some technical problems because they're becoming popular. It's hard. It's really, really hard to establish yourself in the technology world, in the social media world today with a new platform. And a lot of people have this myth that there's so much change in social media. The platforms, though, if you think about it, the platforms don't change. If you think about what were the top platforms 3 years ago compared to today, they're the same, except you take Google Plus off and you put Snapchat on. So in the last 3, 4, 5 years, we've added one platform. It's really, really hard to become a major force in social media today, because if you're doing really well, chances are Facebook or Google's going to buy you, or they're going to destroy you, one or the other. I don't know. The buzz out of social media marketing world is that Vero, a lot of people are staying with their current platforms and they're thinking Vero may not make it. But, let's hope that they do. Andrew Smith asks, have you had any additional thoughts on the top 10 ideas you talked about in your keynote presentation at Social Media Marketing World? Thanks for that, Andrew. And also, if you didn't see my talk, and most people didn't because it was in San Diego, I wrote up a blog post on those 10 ideas. I published it on my blog. There's a surprise. I also published it on Facebook and LinkedIn, so you can kind of see my ideas. I really put a lot of time into that talk, Andrew, probably too much time. So I feel really comfortable in some of my predictions in that talk. And of course, I was able to go into it a lot more depth in my talk that I did in the blog post. There's a lot of other things going on that I left off. Notably, I would say blockchain. And the reason I left blockchain off is because it's almost like a new operating system. It's almost like whenever you do an upgrade on your computer, did it have an impact on the way you work? Yeah, but it's a so what, right? I mean, it's not changing really the fundamentals of marketing in any way that's going to be, make a foundational difference in the next couple of years. So I feel pretty confident in that talk. So let's see what else is going on here. A lot of people are making nice comments. I appreciate that. And, I'm not going to go through all your nice comments. I'll go back and I'll appreciate those later, but I want to try to get to as many questions as I can. Karen Freeberg's on here. What are you doing, Karen? You're supposed to be getting ready for your class. I'm going to be talking to your class in a few minutes. So I'm surprised to see Karen on here. Elisa adds, I didn't hear anyone talking about Vero at Social Media Market World. It feels like we're kind of saturated. That's a very keen insight, Elisa. How do you break out in the social media world? You've got to fill a new niche. You've got to fill an unmet or at least underserved need. That's why Google Plus failed. And, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but I took a lot of flack. I wrote a blog post the first day Google Plus came out, and I said, it's not going to make it. And the reason is, it's not because it wasn't great. It was great. Everybody loved Google Plus. But the problem with Google Plus is that people only have the bandwidth for one social platform in each niche. So for example, if someone says, we're going to be the next Twitter, it's not going to work. We already have one Twitter. It works fine. If someone says, oh, we're kind of like LinkedIn, it's not going to work. We already have LinkedIn. It works just fine. We do not need another LinkedIn. And let's face it, Google was trying to steal some of the pie from Facebook. They wanted to damage Facebook. They were intoxicated by this idea of getting that personal information for their own advertising. But we already had one Facebook. Everybody's attention, our psychological commitment was already in that niche. It's easier to change your house, to move to a new house, than to move to a new social media platform. Because that's where you have all your stuff. You got to move all your friends with you, right? You got to move your community with you. And that's what Google Plus couldn't overcome. So that's why it's going to be really hard for new people to create a new niche. Jason Miller has joined. Hello, mate. I'll be seeing you soon in Bournemouth. Damien is asking me, have you discussed your next book? I do have some ideas for a new book. It's going to be something around how marketing today is really lost, how people are stuck, how marketing has really become embarrassing and annoying, and how we need to move ahead. What is the new path for the future? So I'm collecting my ideas on that. I'm actually really excited about it. And, I think my book, Known, was my best professional work. And the reason I say that is because every single week, people tell me this book is changing my life. It's not changing my life. People are telling me it's changing their lives. I mean, at social media marketing world, people lined up to tell me how Known is changing their lives. So here's my goal. I'm going to write a book better than Known. Known really ended up being it's a magical book. It's just having such a deep impact on people. And so, my goal, my intellectual challenge is to write a book even better than Known. So that's going to take some time, but I've got some ideas about it. Elisa asks, how do you manage to see ahead? I do it by listening to the Marketing Companion. Who doesn't? Thank you for that nice comment, Elisa. The Marketing Companion is, of course, the podcast I do with Tom Webster, which is now we're almost at our 5th anniversary. Our 5th anniversary is going to be in June, so we're going to have a gala celebration. I recently wrote a blog post about the content I consume to stay ahead. There were some good resources on that blog post. I cannot adequately multitask to keep talking to you and add the link right now. But when this is over, I'll go back and add the link to that blog post. It might be very helpful to you. So again, thanks everyone for all the wonderful content here. I'm just looking for questions. Damien likes my book idea. That's great. I mean, I'm so excited by it, but I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself because it's got to be great. You will not get a book from me unless it's great. Let's see what else is going on here. Peter, just sharing as a courtesy this to reinforce the culture and leadership imperative. He's sharing, okay, he's talking about culture, the importance of culture. I see that my daughter Lauren has joined. Lauren is so awesome. I love my daughter so much. She is just such an amazing, amazing woman, and I miss her. I miss you, Lauren, if you're still watching. So look, thank you so much for joining today. I just wanted to connect with you, and I also wanted to tell you I am going to be doing some Facebook Lives from South by Southwest. When I meet amazing people at South by Southwest, I'm going to try to do some Facebook Live events. This Saturday, around somewhere between 6 and 7 o'clock on Saturday night, I am going to be doing a Facebook Live with Walter Isaacson. Walter Isaacson is best known for his the book on Steve Jobs, right? That they made into a movie. Walter Isaacson, I mean, he has a new book out on Leonardo da Vinci. He used to be the editor of Time Magazine. He used to be the editor-in-chief at CNN. He is an incredible thought leader, writer, and I get to interview him. Crazy. Me and Walter Isaacson, 30 minutes. So watch for that Facebook Live. Who knows what happens at South by Southwest? You never know who you're going to meet, but I'm going to look for opportunities to bring these amazing connections to you. So stay tuned. Thanks, everyone, for listening to me a little bit today. I hope I got to your questions. If I didn't get to your questions, I'll try to go through the stream and answer the ones that I missed. So thank you, everyone. I never, ever take it for granted when you spend time with me. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Stay tuned for amazing stuff coming from South by Southwest.